items here. Welcome everyone to our fourth Latina Power in STEM event, well, webinar. This is our first webinar because traditionally we've offered this event. It was an all-day event on a Saturday. All families would come to Glendale Community College to learn about the possibilities of working in STEM, particularly in technology, engineering, and given the circumstances, we didn't want to lose out on the opportunity to still inspire our youth to consider STEM, given that, you know, especially Latinas, Latinx, are underrepresented in the field, and we want to be able to inspire you and share the stories of those that been through the hurdles and what it took for them to achieve their professional goals. And so I am very happy that you are able to join us today. My name is Dr. Richard Cortez. I am a counselor for about 20 years. At Glendale Community College, I've been serving as counselor for about 13 years. And I had made it a mission to try to promote social justice. Well, Maricela, my colleague, myself, and the rest of the campus community, we're trying to make an effort to expose our students to all these wonderful career pathways. And STEM being a very intimidating one because of all the math and physics and a lot of other rigorous courses. We want to make it so that it is fun. We can make it meaningful to you. And so you're going to learn from a lot of our panelists today of why they were so motivated, what really empowered them to consider this field. So I want to introduce to you my colleague, Maricela Canela. Maricela, you have the floor. Oh, I'm sorry, by the way, very important information. For those of you that need an interpreter, you can look for ASL interpreter on one of the screens. You can click on the edge of their screen, the three dots, and you can pin them. And so you'll be able to have a larger view of their interpreter. So again, we have ASL interpreter, and you'll see that they may be taking turns. So you'll have to switch over to another screen and ensure that you pin that screen as well. Okay, Maricela, now you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cortez. Like he said, I'm Maricela Canela, STEM counselor, and this is a great opportunity for all young ladies, Latinas, to explore the different career fields in STEM, especially in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And with that said, it is my honor to introduce you to our Dean, Jan Swenson from Workforce Development for an opening remarks.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Good morning, everyone, and welcome on behalf of Dr. David Vire, our president, and Dr. Michael Ritter-Brown, our vice president of instruction, and Dr. Paul Schlossman, our vice president of student services, our board of trustees, and of course, everyone who works at GCC. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here. And what I wanted to tell you, well, I want to thank, first of all, Richard and Maricela for always heading this up. It's such a fantastic program that we are doing, and the fact that it's our fourth annual really states a lot about our commitment at the college. We do want to focus on getting more people involved in STEM, male and female, but particularly female right now because in many of the areas the females are underrepresented, but it doesn't mean that we're not also supporting our male students too. And you may find maybe even your mother or father's interested, or your brother or sister. And Richard and Maricela are counselors. I used to be a counselor, so we're all on the same page about helping students explore their interests. So what I wanted to tell you a little bit about, for many years, we've been in a grant project with Cal State Northridge focusing on engineering and computer science students. And what would the basis would be where students would take their freshman and sophomore coursework at Glendale Community College and then transfer to Cal State Northridge for their junior and senior level courses. So in 2015, there was a conference called the Computing Alliance for Hispanic Serving Institutions. And through our Ames grant, we were able to go to Puerto Rico, and the students had submitted some projects for the poster sessions, and they were accepted. So we went with them for them to do their presentation. And of course, at workshops or at conferences, there are always lots of workshops, and I got to know the TECHNOLOchicas there. And I was just so impressed with the stories. They had brought these different aged, young and middle-aged and older women in to tell their stories about how the STEM area, since this was Computing Alliance, focusing really on the computer science area at that time, had changed their lives. And some people came from just very, regular middle-class situations. Other people came from homelessness, abusiveness, just all kinds of crazy things from all over the world. And I really was impressed with the commitment of the TECHNOLOchicas. And so then I went to Richard and Maricela and I said, hey, I met these people who we got to get involved with. So then that's how we got connected with them, and with the leadership of Janie and her team, we've been able then to have the support for our annual Latinas in STEM event. So I really commend you for being here and hearing about this. And remember, if you are interested, in the future, Richard and Maricela are counselors. They can help you with your educational plans. We have very strong STEM programs that lead to the most prestigious programs at the various universities, and we can help you get to where your goals are. And one example I do want to give, because I do remember this young girl, and she didn't want to, she said, well, I don't want to be a computer nerd because that's stupid and I'm very social and blah, blah, blah. But she was very interested in fashion. And then she found out, oh, well, you can use computers in the fashion world. So she had gotten her degree, and then was working for some big fashion company in New York City. So it doesn't matter what your interest is, there's a way to tie STEM to that area, and that's where we can help you do that. So I thank all of you for coming today, and please just enjoy the variety of speakers we have and the various fields where they're using their STEM interests and skills. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Swinton, for those welcome remarks. I'd love to introduce myself. I'm Janie Fernandez. I am the director of the TECHNOLOchicas programs. I work at the National Center for Women and Information Technology, which is a really long name, but we're short for NCWIT. And we created this program in collaboration with the Televisa Foundation back in 2015 with the goal to get more Latinas involved in tech fields. How do we do that? We do that by providing role models. So you have our TECHNOLOchicas here today that I'll be introducing in a few minutes to hopefully get you inspired, motivated, and informed to pursue or to follow in their footsteps and pursue technology as a career in the future. I want to kick off our Q&A session by showing you a quick clip of our newest campaign, our newest TECHNOLOchicas campaign. But before I do that, I just wanted to let you all know that if you look on the bottom, or depending on how you have your screen set up, there's a Q&A function. We want you to submit your questions on the Q&A window. That way we can share your questions with the TECHNOLOchicas. We'll also have a series of polls that you can participate on, and we can get an idea of who's in the room. So after this short clip, we will jump into our first poll, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. So bear with me 1 second.
Jenny, unfortunately, I'm not getting any audio on my end, and I think a couple of others are having the same issue.
I think that may be because I was muted and sharing my screen. So let's do that. Let's try that one more time.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Technology means you can dream, you can imagine concepts with the confidence that you can bring them to life.
Knowing how to code makes me feel independent, creative, and empowered. For me, technology means solving real-world problems. It's one of the greatest feelings in the world to me, knowing that I'm making an impact.
Computer science is positively challenging, creative, fun, and collaborative.
The technology has empowered me, my life, my family, and my community.
And I love that I get to design now the technology that the world will use in the future.
I want to be a TECHNOLOchica because I want to show girls in my community that technology is not only a career that they should pursue, but that they can pursue it and succeed in it.
I am a product of the people who came before me. I believe that in me pursuing a degree in engineering allows us to make a difference that maybe those who came before us were unable to make because there was a lack of resources or they did not have access to the same opportunities that we have.
The future in technology for girls is bright. When we include women in the creation of technology, we can create tools that are more inclusive and efficient for everyone.
My wish for Latinas is that they will break the stereotypes and share all their talent with the world. But I also want to make sure that there's representation out there, that other girls are able to look at people that look like them and say, I want to have that job, I want to have that career. Remember that you're not alone. There are girls out there that are already, in the engineering field doing computer science.
Success to me means not succeeding alone. I want to succeed with my friends, my family, and my coworkers.
Without unique voices, we're never going to reach innovative solutions that are going to bring us to the next biggest thing. One thing that motivates me every morning is the fact that I have the ability to change this world for the better.
Technology provides me the tools to change the world. I'm a Latina and I love technology.
All right, I hope everybody was able to actually hear that the second time around. Let me go back to our other screen so I can introduce you to our speakers today. We have joining us this morning, Andrea Chavez, Ms. Veronica Godinez, Ana Hernandez, one more slide, Liz Islas, Maria Jimenez, and Ana Pompa Alarcon. Welcome, TECHNOLOchicas. I'm excited to moderate this brief Q&A panel while we have questions from our attendees. Don't forget to type in your questions in the Q&A window. I am going to stop sharing my screen. That way you can hear firsthand from our TECHNOLOchicas today. And before I do that, I am going to launch the first poll. You ready? So we want to get an idea of who is in the room with us today. So please take a moment to answer the poll that is popping up on your screen. We'll give you guys a few minutes to get a chance to answer our first poll. We want to get an idea of how many of you are in high school, middle school, how many of you are educators or parents. Okay, so it looks like 44. I'm going to share my results on the screen. Are you able to see that? Can somebody give me a thumbs up or a nod if you see the, okay, excellent. So the majority of you here today are high school students. A lot of the information that you'll hear from our TECHNOLOchicas, it's going to be really applicable to all of you in high school, but the message really is for everybody that's joining us today. So I'll stop sharing that screen and I'll start with my first question, which is for Liz. So Liz, you are an engineer. You had to take a lot of math classes. Are you really good at math? Did you love it?
Well, yeah, after several years, I can finally say that I'm good at math now. But yeah, that's one of the things that at the beginning of my career, when I was in high school, in middle school, I struggled a lot. I was like, I'm not really good at math, and I really want to do some computer science, but I know that math is something really important for those type of careers. And I was really scared at the beginning. I was like, what if I go and try to pursue an engineering degree and then at the middle of it, I just can't because I cannot deal with math. And I remember back then that my mom helped me a lot. She doesn't have any idea about math. She's a nurse and she didn't like math too much, but she helped me a lot to connect with people that actually were good at math. Like she went to my school, figure out there were tutors there, people that can help me to get additional help outside the classroom. Also, I got a lot of help from my friends. I had a really good friend. He was as well in my classroom with me, and she was really good at math. And she helped me a lot to understand math, like things that I was struggling with. And I just decided, like, if I wanted to pursue a career, that I'm not going to be stopped just because I'm afraid of failing for math. So I was like, okay, if I need to repeat a course, well, I'll do it. It's not what I want, but I'll do it. And I'll just try to do my best. And I remember that back then I was taking a lot of time just to make sure that I understand everything. I was doing my homework, trying to do a lot of exercises. I was trying also to look for other resources like in YouTube. There's a lot of videos, a lot of tutorials with teachers that are really, really good at it. And maybe you are not understanding just because the way they are explaining to you. But right now that we have everything available and we can just go and Google it and find books, videos, and everything, that helps a lot. So at the end, I just study a lot, did my best. It wasn't easy, but I didn't allow that to stop me. So that's one of the things that I want to share with all the students here. We are not 100% perfect in all the areas. We can improve in a lot of them. Just don't allow the fear to stop you, because if you keep practicing, if you keep reading, getting other resources, you're going to get good at it.
Great, thank you so much, Liz. There's a couple of questions in the Q&A that we'll get to, and we're gonna weave into the conversation. Liz, just a quick follow-up to what you just mentioned. What is it that you love the most about working for a big IT company? You work for Cisco. Those of you who don't know what Cisco is, can you tell us what the company's about, and what do you love the most about working in a company like that?
Yeah, sure. So Cisco, don't get confused with the food company, because there's a really big food company that is also named Cisco with Y. This is with I, and it's a really big telecommunications company, and it's been in the market like for more than 20 years. We have more than 70,000 employees around the globe. And our main focus is just to help our customers to get the right technology to achieve their goals, right? It could be retail, it could be bank, whatever they are doing. We just make sure that the technology that they have enables their business. And I really love right now to be part of such a huge company, because as we saw in the videos, a lot of things we love to do is just to help other people and impact their lives. Right now, for example, with all the situation of the COVID and everything, we've been helping a lot of customers that are in the healthcare industry just to make sure that they have everything they need to process testing, to take care of the patients. For example, we have video surveillance cameras with a lot of technology that provides them alerts if a patient is feeling not okay, because we are doing a lot of artificial intelligence just to predict if a patient is having like a face that it's referring to pain or feeling discomfort. And we're helping all these customers right now. And I think that before I loved my work, but right now when you see the real impact that you are having and that you are able to help these people like in a daily basis, it makes it way better. So just remember that technology is such a broad thing and everybody is using technology, and you can just impact several lives in several ways, and just keep that in mind.
Thank you so much for that, Liz. As Dr. Swinton mentioned earlier when she welcomed us, when we think of technology and working in tech, we sort of think of this like, oh, I'm stuck in a room working in front of a computer by myself and just programming maybe. But the reality is that computer science intersects with every field of work, every career, every study out there. We're going to hear a little bit more about that. But think of how, if you don't see yourself right now as a technologist or somebody creating software, for example, think about the things that you know that you love now. And we're pretty sure that you can find a way to intersect your passion for art, for medicine, for education, for fashion, for health, for anything with technology. So I am going to launch another poll. I want to make sure you're all paying attention and listening. So let's see. Oh, this is the wrong question. Hold on. Of course, we have like technical difficulties. 1 second. Okay, so I am launching the second poll, and we're going to move on to a kind of a different topic, but take a look at the question about how many people use the internet regularly. Oh, I see the results are trickling in. We'll give it a few more seconds. Interesting, interesting. Let's see, 80% of you have voted. Let's wait on a few more votes. And okay, I'm gonna end the poll and I'm gonna share the results. How many of you, well, the majority of you think that 8.6 billion people are using the internet on a daily basis. So we're going to chat with Ana Pompa Alarcón so she can give us a little bit more insight about that. So Ana, so today we all use multiple social media platforms to stay connected, to have fun, to study, etc. So what is one thing that you think students should be careful or should carefully think about when they use and navigate these platforms? What are some of the potential negative effects of using them, and what are the pros? So
yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for tuning in. I know that Zoom meetings and Zoom events are not exactly how we all pictured this, and as a student myself right now, I joined a grad school recently, and someone who works on Zoom all day, I know that this is really tricky. So I really applaud everyone for showing up to these kind of events, and I'm super excited to be here. Yeah, social media. I am the founder of an LA-based tech company. We are actually a social network called Find Sisterhood. I started it because of exactly that part, that so many people are using social media nowadays and they're unaware of the effects that it has. There are multiple different things. I think one of the ones that I really wanted to talk about, because I'm also a mom myself, is the negative effects on our mental health when we use social networks. And as much as technology has allowed us to stay connected, I'm an immigrant, and without technology, I would not be able to talk to my family ever. I remember when my mom moved from Austria to Mexico City, where she met my dad, she would tell me how she had to send recordings in the mail to my mom, to her mom, because it was too expensive to talk on the phone. She didn't have enough money to call from Mexico to Europe. And so she would record her voice so her mom would be able to hear her. And nowadays, I'm on WhatsApp. I talk to my dad in Mexico like 3 hours a day. Well, right now because he's bored. And everyone else in the world, and that's thanks to technology. But there are also other parts that are really tricky when it comes to tech. And one big one is how it affects our mental health. I felt that personally when I first had my first one, my daughter Leila, and I was in New York, and every time I would look on like social networks, on Facebook and on Instagram, it seemed like everyone else had this beautiful, perfect, shiny life. And then I would look at myself and I was a mess. I would cry. I would feel like I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough with a mom. I was homesick. I was like, oh my God, I miss my own mom. And now I'm supposed to take care of another human and be their mom. And that's the first time that I started researching how it actually affects us, that we, because of technology, are so connected now that we feel like we get an actual view into the living room and the life of other people. But I think it's very important to remember that we don't actually see the real life. We see a very filtered version of what they want us to see. And that's what we show of ourselves. That's fine. But that's an important part. And a recent study has shown that the like button on Instagram is one of the biggest factors for the mental health issues of teenagers nowadays. And that's a huge problem, right? If we compare ourselves and our worth based on likes or comments, then that's a big problem. And I made it my personal mission with my company, but also as a private person, to call out tech companies and to hold them responsible, because there is so many good that tech can bring, but there's so much harm that can come from that. And I think that it's really important, first of all, to be aware as parents of what that does to our children, but also as users of those social networks, to just remember that what you see, that's a very filtered version. It's not the reality. And you should never, ever, ever base your worth and what you can achieve in your life based on responses that you get from the internet. You and yourself and your gut are the most important tool that you have, and it's not social networks. And also, if you consider a career in STEM, which I think is amazing, it can change the world literally with technology, which is so amazing. I do urge you to take social responsibility and think about the effects that the tech has in the world and for yourself, and be very mindful and do better than tech giants are doing.
Anna, I had a quick follow-up question to all of your comments, which I think are outstanding and something that all students, whether they're in elementary, middle, or high school or college, should consider. I'm going to launch another poll to see where most of our audience is sharing their personal lives. You know, which social media platform is your favorite? You talked about, you know, the effects of likes. You know, you want to post the perfect picture, the perfect setting, the perfect life, so you can get a ton of likes.
So I'm gonna take a guess. I don't know, can people hear me right now?
Yes.
I'm gonna take a guess. A lot of young people are right now on TikTok. There is a report that came out yesterday. TikTok has human moderators. So they're actually human that look at the content and moderate the content. TikTok moderates the content to give less views and takes down videos of so-called ugly people. They label ugly people as people that are not the standard form of beauty, meaning a lot of people, for example, that are not skinny enough, like TikTok would want them to be like, their videos get taken down. Body positive models that post in bikinis that don't have a size 0 body, their content gets taken down. And that is, for example, that's a great example, right? Most people are not aware of that. And then they look on TikTok and they're like, everyone here is so beautiful. How do they look so beautiful? Well, there are social media platforms that want you to believe how the work looks like, and that actually profit from you not liking yourself, not liking your body, your clothes, and your home. Because then you go and you buy diet products, you get a gym membership, you buy cosmetic, you do all of these things to somehow appear to have the same life that people on those social networks have. They don't have that life, first of all. But second of all, the reason that you don't see more people that are just like yourself, that have a messy life, because everyone's life is messy and complicated, and everyone's family is complicated and messy, it's because those social platforms filter out that content, so you don't see that. And I see Instagram won, which is not a surprise. We have a little bit of older students here as well, I guess, right? High school is that? Yeah. So Instagram is the same thing, right? I talked about the like button. For Instagram, they're aware of the like button. They tested it out in various countries to take it off, to take it away, not show the like count anymore. At the end of the day, they decided to keep it because that's how they make money. So money was more important than the mental health of their users. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I myself on Instagram, I learned that it's a very important tool, especially as the CEO of a tech company that got outside funding, which in the United States, only 0.04% of people like myself will ever get funding for their company to actually get started. And I just learned through events like this year how important it is to highlight and say, hey, I'm out here. Like, there's so few of us, but they are out there, and you can do it too. And so I use it for that, but I'm also very aware that what I'm seeing on there is not the reality. So when you're on Instagram, just always think about that and filter the feed and choose who you follow that makes you feel good, and don't follow the accounts that actually make you feel bad. Sorry, my pep talk here. I'm a very typical mom. I'm like, take care of yourself.
I love that. We have some, I don't know, because you guys are speaking, of course, there's some comments on the chat itself. Like, thank you so much for that insight as to how these social media platforms work, because it's really important, you know, it's really, really important for us to know that these standards that they're selling us or trying to convince us to fit into are just really artificial, because somebody's controlling or filtering that information. I want to switch gears a little bit and go to Ana Hernandez, because she's a college student right now. And there's a question on the chat about, you know, specifics on how you got involved with computer science. Did you go to a 2-year college, a 4-year college? Like, what was the process like? Talk us through how you discovered a passion for technology or computer science, and what your journey has been so far.
Well, what really got me into computer science, or actually introduced the concept of computer science and STEM, was when I was in middle school, 7th grade. I had to choose another elective because I think I was taking a choir class and the teacher wasn't there anymore, so I had to pick a new one. And I was placed into a Lego robotics elective. And a lot of the kids, when they would talk about it, they said that the teacher was pretty mean, or just like really strict, and that at least the robots or playing with Legos was fun. And so I kind of went into that class a little bit scared, but at the end of it, I realized that the teacher wasn't mean, and if he was strict, it was because he wanted to go ahead and see that the kids are actually learning, and that they get inspired to maybe pursue it as a career, or at least just have fun with it. And he really believed in all of us, and he's one of the biggest mentors that I've had. And I decided after that class, I would continue learning about robotics and STEM. And I took that class until the end of middle school. And in high school, I joined the first robotics club at my school, because I made really good friends. Not only were my friends middle schoolers, but the high schoolers that were there who were mentoring us, we had good relationships with them. So it was really cool having a more relatable mentor at that age. And robotics was really fun. We got to build robots that range from 6 feet to 4 feet tall. We got to go ahead and make it do different challenges, because each year the challenges would change for the competition. So we had basketball shooting robots, frisbee shooting robots, and it was really nice because we were building it as a team. I wasn't going ahead and doing all the work, and it was separated into different subgroups as well. So if the first 2 years I was in the programming team and machining, and at the end of the year, of probably my junior and senior year, I was able to kind of get a better experience and get more opportunities to do public speaking. And I was put into the public speaking team, in which we would go ahead and present a robot, present what our club does for not only ourselves, but to inspire the community around us, to
go into STEM opportunities or to really explore that side. And all of those things that I learned from just joining a random club in high school and thinking that looks cool, like maybe I should try it out, and then bringing a friend along with me, it was really nice to see that all at the end made me realize that I could continue doing this as a career, that I can pursue this as something that I can study in college. And I realized maybe engineering isn't the career for me or the subject for me, but I still have computer science, I still have software engineering. There's a lot of other paths that you can go down when it comes to exploring STEM. And again, what I really like that you can go ahead and find similarities with the other hobbies and passions that you have. I really like sports. There's a lot of technology when it comes to professional athletes and maybe working with them. Music, and whatever subject or hobby you are interested in, there is most likely a path where you can work with it, integrating technology with it. And I guess the other thing that also really motivated me was the fact that because I was in robotics and because a lot of people were looking for what was getting kids or young students into STEM and what would get them interested, it opened up a lot of opportunities and networking where I got to meet really cool people, I got to experience really cool opportunities, such as I was invited to a couple of film sets to go ahead and share my experience with them because one of their characters was going to go through an arc in which they were going to pursue a STEM career or like joining a robotics club. I think the Fosters was one of them, in which the character was planning to join a robotics team where they made robots dance. That was really cool. My team also got to participate on set filming because they were actually filming a small competition. And it was really, really interesting to see that people wanted to hear my experiences, what was my motivation to join, and seeing that those people were interested gave me hope that students would see this and say, you know what, maybe I should give it a chance. It's not as scary as you would think.
Thank you, Anna. I have a poll for the audience after this actual follow-up question, but what I'm hearing is you had role models, you had peers that were interested in robotics and got you excited about it too. I'm gonna launch the poll, and while those of you listening answer, I want to piggyback on that and go to Veronica, to Mrs. Godinez, and ask her to share a little bit about, because Mrs. Godinez is a principal at Pomona Unified School District. I want you to share a little bit about what roles can educators and parents, so adult influencers, play in supporting your journey into computing or technology.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to share my story and to share and answer that question. As an educator and a teacher, we must continue to allow the kids to explore and play. Yes, I was an elementary teacher and a middle school teacher, and just like Anna said, I ran a very tight ship. And the reason why I had very extremely high expectations for all of my students. Yes, we wrote stories, we played with robots, we did some coding, but there were some high expectations because I needed them to understand that there was a reason to my madness. I need them to be disciplined. We planned. Before we even played with anything, we planned. There was a story behind the programming of that robot. There was a story behind everything. So the reason why we tend to be a little strict is because we want you to work a little harder. It's not all play. It's not, as educators, we need to encourage our students. We must allow them to play, like I said. Also, as students, I have 3 beautiful girls, a college graduate from Cal State Long Beach, just graduated last week. Today, my high school senior graduates from Rancho Cucamonga High School, and a younger student who's going into 8th grade. And I had 3 expectations for them. I said, as they were growing up, and for all my students who were in all my classes, were you can't get anything lower than a B. You need to graduate from high school and you need to go to college. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna figure it out. As a young English language learner myself, not knowing anything of English when I first started school, I remember myself being put in the back of the classroom because I didn't understand the language. I wasn't able to participate in any of those read alouds because the teacher said, she doesn't understand. Why do I have to have her here in the corner? Or why do I have to have her here in the circle? So because of that experience, I vowed to bring opportunities to other students. It didn't matter if you spoke English or didn't at all. But we need to give our students the opportunities to explore. We need to allow them to fail, but also creating those boundaries and encouraging them to, okay, if this didn't work, what's your plan B? You need to have a plan B, a plan C, and even sometimes a plan D. We need to give them opportunity for failure, but always, always as parents and educators, encouraging them to be something more. I have my senior in college, she just graduated. She's like, I want to do linguistics, Mom. I said, yes, I know you love languages. She learned Italian, she went through Mandarin. I said, but you need to add something else. There's so much computer science is out there. I'm not saying you're going to go into computer science, but let's try and see if we can tie something else in there. She started exploring at the university. She got involved in this program called Build, where she had the opportunity to focus on her major, but also minor in computer science. So she was given the opportunity to linguistics with a minor in computer science. She's now off to University of Colorado Boulder to continue her master's in computational linguistics. So she's now artificial intelligence, something that she absolutely loved, study of language and how language develops. She did say, Mom, it's hard. I wish I had this in high school. I wish I had this in middle school. Mom, I wish I had this in elementary. So as an educator, I was one of the the 21st educators selected to write the computer science standards for kindergarten through 12th grade. So as a passionate educator, I felt the importance to be able to start infusing computer science as early as kindergarten. So as the students kept coming through the school system, by the time they got to high school, they had already gotten a little taste of it. You need to explore. You need to give yourself time to fail. You need to give yourself some time to be successful. Another thing is there's a secret ingredient. There is a secret ingredient to your success, and that's you. And you're like, but I don't know what to do, Ms. Godinez. I have no clue. You need to find what your 5 strengths are. And there's actually this free test that you can do it. And Ms. Jani is going to share it with all of you later. It's called the High 5 test. You take the series of questions from middle school to high school students to college students, and it gives you what your 5 strengths are. From those 5 strengths, you can then gear, I can tell you one of my 5 strengths is strategic. Being able to look at a problem, being able to analyze it and say, okay, we could go this route or we could go this route. For you, it may be something completely different. But based on those 5 strengths, then you have an opportunity to start creating your story and what it's going to be. Another thing, you need to write in your journal every single day. You need to write in your journal and dream that dream. I can tell you as a little girl, not knowing a lick of English, this is the movie that I would play in my mind all the time. I'm going to graduate high school. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go to the university. I'm going to be a professor at the university. I'm going to be a teacher. I had all these dreams. And I can tell you that last year, that one of the dreams that I dreamed when I was sitting in the backseat of my mom's car to be a university professor was finally granted. I had the opportunity to teach at the University of Redlands, teaching teachers, inspiring teachers as well. So you need to write your story down, and not only write it, you need to imagine it and be the main character of that story and relive it all the time and see it and tell it to the world. I can tell you, my youngest student, when she first she's now going into 8th grade. She's a jazz band. She's a saxophone player. And she walked into the as the orientation coming in 3 years ago, and she says, "Mom, I'm going to play in that band." And this is the jazz band. This is the honors band. This is like, you have to try it out and you got to practice. And I was like, all right, Alexis, you go for it. You know what you have to do. Last week, she submitted her audition video. And 2 days ago, she was one of 2 saxophonists selected for that jazz band. So you gotta tell your story to the world. You gotta write it down. And most important, you must believe in yourself, because let me tell you, the teachers at your campus believe in you. You can do it. You just have to go out and try. And it's going to be extremely difficult. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be hard. You have to have a plan. You have to write a story. You need to know your story, and you must live your story. So, and as parents, we must create those parameters, but not create boundaries. We must allow them to explore. We need to allow them to fall and scrape their knees and try again. So that's my story, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Veronica. So much to celebrate: graduation, sex, making the band, so many things to celebrate in your house. Congrats. And thank you for sharing that insight. You have a very interesting perspective from the educator, from the parent point of view, from the facilitator to other adults. There was a question that's on the chat about knowing how family is so important. So for many cultures, particularly Latinos, we're glued at the hip. We're glued at the hip. So the question is how can we get families to support their Latinas to go into tech, or what strategies would you recommend to help support them? You mentioned parameters versus boundaries. Can you share a little bit more about that, and then we can move on to our next TECHNOLOchica to
so what I did when I'm in the classroom, or anytime I'm introducing tech to the children, I always bring the parents in. I always allow them to, I do a 1 hour of code with my parents. I invite them into one of the classrooms. I bring out Dash and Dot and the iPads, and I teach them, I give them the basics, the first video, and I click play. I allow them to explore. I allow them to play. And at the end of that hour, I then say, okay, your time is up. We have to put the robots away, just like I would the kids. And now they're hooked. They understand. I said, you just coded all, and I give them how many lines of code they created as a whole. I give them all the information that I would give the kids, and then they understand. We need to allow, as parents, to learn, even if it's just the basics, just like the kindergarten students learn it, but we must allow to give ourselves some time to learn it. And it's not my story. I mean, I know my daughters, they're getting ready to fly. 2 of them will be moving away from home. And it's hard as Latinas to do that. I know I didn't leave to go to college. I stayed home, but it is hard. It is a cultural barrier, but that's where we need to allow them to be the writers of their own stories and the dreamers of their own dreams, and continue being there to support. If it's at 2 o'clock in the morning, giving them a pep talk because they need to study for a test, then that's what we're going to do. And that's when I say we give them boundaries. You give them the expectation, like, this is your yellow brick road. This is where you need to go. You can go left, you can go right, but you always have to come back to this yellow brick road. And you decide how bright your yellow bricks are going to be. Are they going to be sparkly with sparkles, or are they just going to be this dull yellow? So allowing them, giving them the parameters, but not creating those boundaries where say, oh, you can't go this far. This is as far as you go. We can't create that. We need to allow them to continue moving forward.
I love that advice. I imagined the yellow sparkly brick road in front of me, or in front of many of the students that are actually listening. On that same vein, so we're talking about parental support, family support, parameters. I know that, and you're talking about sharing your story, creating your own story. One of the things that one of the TECHNOLOchicas here, Andrea, has spearheaded is a platform that allows women to share their success story. tell us a little bit about not just this project through Pineapple Woman, but then also some of the projects and things that you work with your students when you're a former technology and Spanish educator.
Absolutely. Hi, Jenny, and hi, everybody. Thank you for being here today with us. Jenny, would you like to send the poll of the ants first before I talk? And I connect that to my talk.
Okay, our poll for Andrea is live. Let's give you guys a chance to participate. How many ants can an ant carry? Let's see what you guys think. Oh, it's split right down. It's spread pretty evenly. Let's see. We have about half of you have completed the poll. Let's give you guys 5 more seconds. And you know what? While we do that, I know that Ana Pompa, we didn't give the correct answer to how many billions or how many people use the internet.
Didn't.
What was the correct answer for that?
Oh, I don't know. I did not submit that poll. I actually curious myself.
Okay.
That poll must have been from someone else on the panel. But yeah, if that's you, then please share because I was curious myself.
Okay, we are going to find out the answer of that for all of you and we'll share the results. Okay, so I am going to close the poll and share people's answers. So 27% of you think that ants can carry as much as 10 other ants. And what is the correct answer, Andrea?
Okay, the correct answer is 50. So ants could always carry 50 times their own weight. With that said, I just believe that in community, and you know that ants are very hard workers and they help each other construct and build stuff. They help each other bring stuff and they kind of like formalize each other's jobs. So they kind of like say, you do this, do that, and then they just start building. And with that said, it means that all of us have the power to pull and help other people as 50 times as your weight, as 50 times as your motivation, as 50 times like so many other things, right? So I was a middle school and high school Spanish teacher. And when I started teaching, I started seeing like a lot of like technology, and at that time, it was like 10 years ago when I started teaching, it was just like connecting apps. What are we going to do? I love to do like a lot of, I like to call STEAM instead of STEM because I always tied the arts with the technology. And so because I was a Spanish teacher and I love technology, I started tying like many, many, many things, right? And then after like studying like, okay, this is Spanish. I was just a Spanish teacher. I have never done technology in my life. But I started being very curious. As said, Veronica said, explore, always explore. And it doesn't matter how old are you, there is always room for exploring and discovering. So I started exploring a little bit of technology, but I didn't start doing it alone. I did it with my students because it's easier when you have someone right next to you to do it. So one day I found this fabulous program where we could like start making video games, but I didn't know how to code. But I said to myself, well, I am just gonna grab a bunch of students and I'm gonna go to the classroom and I'm gonna say, we are all going to learn. So there is less fear when you are learning with someone else. And then we started coding, and because you guys kind of have it in the DNA, right? The young people have it in the DNA. They started coding so much faster than I, and my students were helping me to code. So they were actually like telling me, they were explaining what is a loop and what is like all of these concepts that I just didn't know. And little by little, we were all moving together. when that happened, they all moving together. Obviously, some people move a little bit faster than others because they like it, because they could like connect with things. And there are some others like me that move a little bit slower, and that's okay. And like those that were moving faster, I made them the mentors that we were like also saying, like someone was talking about mentors. So you could also be a mentor. So they like I made of those girls mentors, and they started pulling other girls around, right? And then not everybody likes to make video games. So I started observing what other things, like many times we don't explore things because we don't know them. We are afraid of the unknown. So then I started observing what my girls love to do. They love to dance, because in the school that I was in, it was a public school in New York City, and there were 66 different cultures represented. And one of the ways that they represented a lot, it was through movement. And I love movement because movement means evolution. So then I started seeing them, and those girls that loved that were not really connecting to technology. So I started talking to them, and they were like, well, it's just boring. Like, it's just like, I don't know, it's just difficult, and then therefore it's boring, and I don't want to try. So we were like, okay. So I started thinking, how do we bring these girls into technology? So they love to dance, and I am just gonna make a digital dance. So we made a digital dance where the girls, we brought 25 dancers and paired them up with 25 girls in technology. The girls that had to do technology, some of them had to dance with the girls, so the girls would teach those girls dancing, and these girls would teach these girls technology. And like that, we made an amazing digital dance where the dancers learn how to make their tutus. We light them up to the songs. So like they were coding it to change the colors to the song, to the beat of the song. We made a background with graphic design. We made movies also for the background. So we did that too. We filmed it. So the filmmakers also is technology, and they made up like a whole film that you could actually find in YouTube. And they made robots to like dance with the girls, and they made so many other things. And it wasn't one time. We kept going, and we kept growing, and we kept learning a little bit more. Through that path, there was a lot of problems that we had to solve. And many times we didn't have the answers because it's just me, the technology, non-technology teacher, learning with the girls. So we explore, we researched a lot, and we ask for help. So asking for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you stronger. So through all of that, we found many role models and many people. But through that path, I found that there were not so many Latina role models. So I was like, oh, what happened over here? And that's where Pineapple Woman, the platform that Johnny was talking about, was, that's where it got born. So I collect beautiful stories of Latinas all around the world in Spanish, and they tell us what is it that it keeps them going. So I am kind of like trying to like see what are the patterns. And what I have found, some of them are like, obviously they have some motivation, they have mentors, they have inspiration, they just keep going, they just keep trying, they are not afraid. They learn how to visualize, like Ms. Godinez was saying. They do tell their dreams, like you were saying. They write their dreams down. They actually believe in their dreams, they believe in themselves, and they do the steps to take those dreams closer to make them reality. So
thank you. Thanks, Andrea, for sharing that. I think that, you know, very similar to what you said, the way that you visualize that yellow brick road, it's what's gonna get you to achieve some of these dreams. You mentioned not being afraid to try new things. And that's going to take me to a question for Maria, whose role right now is to help educators who are currently shifting to a new reality or to a different reality right now and moving into this virtual world, specifically because there is a question also on the chat that talks about, like, teachers may not necessarily feel equipped to jump into tech or to jump into some of these new technologies because they themselves are not very prepared on it. So tell us a little bit about how you help educators and parents sort of feel comfortable with trying out new things and feeling comfortable about, well, jumping into this virtual world.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Maria Jimenez, as mentioned. My primary role is I do have a master's in educational technology. And before anything, I want to say that I received that degree about 2 years ago. And when I was first trying to figure out what kind of higher education I want to pursue, my degree was fairly new. And it's very surprising to know that in the past 2 years, how much more impactful has become into even the universities, that is becoming a necessity. Yes, and in fact, it is a necessity because now with this COVID-19, as we all can see, it has been a necessity to connect, a necessity to teach, a necessity to move forward in life, not only in education system, but as a whole, learning how to use Zoom or use how to connect in different platforms. So basically my role now more than ever has been very vital to what's happening right now. Maybe in the beginning, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, you're tech ed, but what does that mean? How does that look like? And as we were rolling into education and teaching in the schools, middle schools, high school, college level, very slowly we were moving in with the idea of taking a traditional classroom to do it virtual. For my understanding, a lot of the courses were more taught like in college, universities, where like distance learning was happening, not so much in elementary. And so very, very slow, we're moving into it. And also another thing was that some of the educators were very reluctant about adapting to new technology and learning the new platforms and how things to set up because, it's the idea, like I always done it this way with paper and pencil and a Xerox machine that, copy packets of paper to pass on to students and so forth. And so now it's like, how do I take that classroom into digital? How will my students be able to connect and be accessible for them? Definitely because of COVID, everything just went like 100% into digital, right? And so there's a lot of concerns with parents, teachers, as well as students. A lot of our students are missing those foundational digital skills. And so my role is to help ease with that, to how to help parents and teachers and students understand that is not a very foreign world. This is the really world that we're living in. It's just a different format. It's like, we go from our phones, we go from our tablets, we go to our computers. These are already gadgets that we're very familiar with. It's just knowing how to curse around them to get to where we need to be, and make it easy as possible.
That's great advice, Maria. Becoming, again, not being afraid to try things that are new, and at the same time understanding that we're not going to be great at them from the beginning. Socorro Orozco asked on the Q&A about if there are specific strategies, stories, advice that you may have to encourage pre-service elementary school teachers to embrace STEM subjects more openly. Before I let you answer that, I would love to also share with you, Socorro, if you're still here with us, that we do have at NC WIT a comprehensive list of resources that help you, that will help you understand how to present or how to feel comfortable talking about STEM in particular to students. The program itself was developed for counselors. It's called Counselors for Computing, or C4C. And it's just a really nice bundle of strategies, promising practices on how to advise students and guide them to pursue these careers. And one of the things that's very common in this sense is that I also am a former educator, and my background is not technical. So it's hard for us who have either a humanities or an education sort of background to talk about technology. But this package of resources will help you not just understand how to talk about it, but really feel comfortable about doing it. I'll be happy to drop my email here on the chat. So, you know, if there's anything that we can connect over and that I can provide for you, all of our resources are available for free. So anybody's welcome to order them. Before I move on to Veronica, because I see she has an answer to that. If you notice on our videos, there is the @ sign. I don't know if you can see all of them, but those are either Instagram or Facebook or Twitter handles that you guys can follow, and you know, we can continue this conversation beyond our time today. Veronica, what did you want to add to that?
So to help Socorro, one of the many organizations that I serve on is CUE. CUE is an organization that supports pedagogy, supporting teachers across the state of California and currently across the United States and the world. We just signed a contract with Microsoft Office, and CUE will be offering free professional development to all educators at no cost. And if you need office hours, they will be offering office hours. Jump on a call with any of the presenters to help you and meet you where you are at as an educator to continue supporting the students in your classroom and at your school. So I will share that with Jenny, and then we can push it out as well to all the attendees.
I know we have about 18 minutes left, and I want to get to some of these questions from the audience. One of them, and this is kind of like raise your hand and let me know. If you...
Can I answer that too a little bit? Just
yes.
Very quickly. Pineapple Woman is going to have soon, I think in less than a month, is going to share the story of Emily Ulloa. Emily Ulloa is from Ecuador. She's 11 years old, and she has already made a robot for autistic kids to express their feelings. So with that said, 11 years old girl, she started in elementary school to explore some technology in order to like create technology for the good. So just stay tuned for that one. Yeah.
Stay tuned. Make sure you're following @ Pineapple Woman on Instagram so you can see when that's coming out. This question, oh, and if you have noticed, we unfortunately lost Liz because she had another commitment for work. So she was able to join us up until noon, but she left her LinkedIn information. If you want to connect with her directly, you're welcome to do that. I'll share it on the follow-up email. So this question, and I think maybe Ana Hernandez can share a little bit more. Somebody from the audience is wondering, were there any challenges in the field you were pursuing?
There were multiple, but I can definitely say the top 3 would be, I know a lot of the audience is in high school. I'm gonna say this now. Brush up on healthy studying skills, like actual studying skills that will help you get the work done. What I've learned, especially when it comes to getting better at math or any hard concept, is practice makes improvement. The more that you practice something, the more that you're going to go ahead and see small little changes and improvement. And I know that math homework looks really hard, even the computer science assignments that I get. I rack my brain around it. But the more that you can go ahead and practice, whether it's like one problem a day, or you try some of the homework and then you save it for later on in the day, it gives you more experience, and it gets you a better way to improve your study skills. And find a good support group, whether that means it's your friends, your pets, your parents, another mentor. A lot of the people that have helped me through the roughest times were my friends, the ones who have inspired me to go ahead and go out for an opportunity, were my role models in high school, or my mentors in high school, which was my robotics teacher and my tech teacher. So I had a really strong male ally and a really strong female role model. And of course, your parents. If you have that kind of relationship with them, the best thing a parent can do is have a listening ear, or like an ear, to go ahead and talk about how your day went, or what you learned that day, or what went on at school. I got really excited talking to my parents about some of the experiences that I've had, or how our robotics team was doing, or how my friends were doing. And then also just making sure that you choose a path that is good for you. I know students are going to be hearing back from colleges, and especially in this COVID situation, a lot of people are kind of unsure where to go from there. A 2-year institution or a 4-year institution, everyone's going online now. So there is no lack in quality in terms of educations, whether you go to a 4-year or 2-year. I do see, I'm going to a 2-year, or I go to Glendale Community College, and I find that I'm not really missing anything that I wouldn't get at a 4-year. I have great professors, I have great resources, and there's a lot of counselors and professors on campus that have the time to go ahead and help me out, and it's really great.
Thanks, Anna. I think Marisela wants to add a little bit to that question too.
And actually, you bring a good point. I would like to encourage you high school students to reach out to your high school counselors, because at the community college, we offer dual enrollment classes where you can start exploring the career pathways, and also you could earn college credit while you're exploring those pathways. This is a great way for you to find out if it's something that you're interested, you could develop your skills. So please encourage, talk to your high school counselor, and also reach out to the college, because we also could provide you information, so we could go back and forth and collaborate with your high school partners.
Thanks. Yeah, dual enrollment, that's huge. I mean, it gives you a foot in the door, get ahead while you can. I'm going to check to see if everybody's still with us. If you could please take a second, 5 seconds, to answer the poll that's on the screen. Okay, let's see. Oh, this was a popular one. You guys responded so quickly. We have about 80% of you voted, 84% of you voted. So I am going to end the poll and share the results. What is your favorite Marvel or DC superhero? It looks like Marvel has a leg up on the other ones. So thanks for participating on that. Somebody from the audience wanted to know if we have, let's see, qualified online coding courses for elementary and junior high schools. Us personally at TECHNOLOchicas.org, we don't provide curriculum. Our role models are TECHNOLOchicas ambassadors when we can. When we're allowed to do so again, we go out into our communities and we teach hands-on workshops. Well, the TECHNOLOchicas ambassadors do. They teach computing concepts to elementary, middle, high school students. Right now, the extent of our participation and interaction with our audience is limited to these virtual opportunities. But on our follow-up email, you will receive a list of resources, both online and offline, that you can access that could that have a lot of curriculum that's related to computing. Another question came from the audience related to what could help a teenage/child with special needs. We know that assistive technology is one of the ways in which we reach students that have special needs or are have different learning styles. As it relates to computer science, code.org is one of the curriculums that's out there for free that is actually accessible to students. So on a computer itself, it's accessible. If you'd like more information on accessibility tools, I'll be happy to share them with you. Just send us a quick email, technolochicas@ncwid.org, and I'll be more than happy to provide additional tools on that. Let's see, any more questions here that we haven't gotten to? Because we have about 10 more minutes. Let's see, I am committed to many different programs such as Girls Who Code, Robotics, Future Female Tech Leaders, and HIP. This upcoming year will be very difficult for me. How did you guys get through the hard time managing your schedules when you started committing to things in the tech industry? It looks like Ana really wants to share. Ana Pompa would like to share an answer to that.
Well, yeah, that's a great question. So I run a company. I also have 2 kids that I'm homeschooling right now by myself. And I just started a program at Stanford. So that is what my life looks like right now. I think that question is not, that answer from my part would not be very STEM related, but more personal, which is if you find something that you're really, really passionate about, there is nothing that is going to be able to stop you. And that's it for me. I am tired all the time. It is really, really hard, but I'm very strict with everything. I'm a very strict mom. Just as my parenting style, we get up, we do school, we focus, we look at the computer, we don't talk, we don't drink, we don't eat, we focus on what the teacher says. And then I go very focused on doing my own work, and I just start my second shift of work after my kids are asleep. That's usually when I study, and that's when I get more stuff done. I used to have a job and no kids and no school, and I felt much more overwhelmed than I do right now. And the only thing that changed is that I was working on something that I didn't fundamentally believe in, that didn't actually matter, and that didn't feel like it was something bigger than myself that is actually going to make a difference in the world or for my kids or anything. And so I think that when you're young and you have all of these opportunities, explore until you find something that sets your soul on fire. I feel like that is the #1 thing that I want my kids to learn. That they go out in the world, that they travel, they learn languages and cultures, and they meet people once COVID is over. And that they just find something that they cannot stop thinking about. That they wake up in the morning, like find the one thing that makes you wake up in the morning and think about, but in a good way, not with anxiety. Like think about I just had this idea. Like I literally dream about Fine Sister. Like in my dreams, I have ideas. That's how passionate I am about it. And so I think that that's just the most important thing that is going to make your life so much happier if you find that one thing and give yourself time to explore. I didn't find it until I was almost 30. So take time. You don't have to have it figured out all now. I also I don't have a tech background. So you can become the CEO of a tech company and not be a technical person. I was really bad in school. I had bad grades. I have dyslexia, and I did not have good teachers, unfortunately. And yet I still found something that made me very passionate.
That's wonderful. Find something that sparks your interest and really go after it. Yes, Andrea.
I like when disseminating all the process that I did with my students, and because I really love the concept of dreaming big, I created a journal that is like 16 steps. I would say that it's still not perfect, and we are evolving on it, but it is there. It's for free. You could have it. It is in pineapplewoman.com, and you could just see it if it's for you. As is just something that it will help you organize. It will help you really sit down and think about your dreams, your big dreams, make it into goals and make those into actions. And then you could see from there if that is something maybe that you don't have to do. So to say no to like some stuff and really see what, like Anna was saying, like the one that wakes you up and you really want to pursue that one. So you could use that.
So I know we have about 5 minutes, and I would love for somebody in the audience, some of our attendees, if they would like to use their raise hand function so we can allow you to ask your question or your comments live here during this chat. Let's see if we see any raised hands. We have Mark Godinez. Oh, I know you, Mark. Hi, Mark. Welcome. We've enabled your ability to speak, so I don't know.
How are you?
We're doing great. Thanks for joining us today.
I just wanted to thank you because I know as an educator, this was pretty rough. I mean, the sad thing is I had kids that were doing so well, and once COVID happened, it kind of like, and then, like as an educator, we saw what was happening in the homes because, like people were losing jobs. I'm working off my kitchen desk, so I know some kids were working off their beds and stuff like that. But thank you because, in a positive manner, I think, we've learned a lot. And, thank you for the webinar. And I want to thank everyone that spoke. You gave me a little push today. You put a smile on my face. And then when I smile, my kids smile and my students smile. So thank you, because I think I've forgotten that because I wear a mask. No one can see me smile anymore. So it's good. You know how we project from smiles, and thank you again. So muchas gracias.
Gracias, Mark. Thank you so much for that. We're going to Diana Machado. If you wanna, I see your hand is up. If you wanna share.
So I'm new to this program, and I just came a little bit late due to I just woke up and many things are happening right now. I have a certain question, like how exactly are we gonna have the same experience if COVID-19 is in the way?
Well, that is a very good question that we're all trying to figure out. I know, at least for the work that we do within NCWIT, we're trying to convene stakeholders, change leaders, leadership across the country to figure out how to make not only K-12 education accessible, but equitable for all, because we know that not everybody has the same resources. It's a conversation that's evolving. I personally don't have an answer to that, but I think Ms. Godinez wants to share her thoughts on it.
So as a principal of an elementary school in Pomona Unified, we as a district are given, the superintendent has created a task force, a group of educators within the community, and each district is in charge of, we don't want to say reopening, we want to call it reimagining and reinventing and redesigning. Because the system that was set in place before us, we know that it was not equitable. We know that it was a system that was just we just kept going with the flow. But with COVID-19, it has given us an opportunity to think back and look at the things that worked and the things that didn't work. And with all the technology resources that we have now, how is it that we can make it equitable and work for all students? Some students may need the Zoom. Some students may need that one-on-one session with the teacher, and now the teacher will be able to provide that with them. It just all depends. It's almost like a free-for-all, giving us that opportunity to, yes, we had the yellow brick road, but maybe some of the bricks were broken or were kind of falling apart. Now we have the opportunity to add some sparkle to it and repaint it, redesign it, reimagine it, and restart again.
Thank you for that, Veronica. I know that we're right on time. I launched the last poll. If you've heard about TECHNOLOchicas, our slogan is, I'm a Latina and I love technology. So that last poll that's on the screen is whether you agree with that statement or not. And with that said, I'll just leave it to Richard and Marisela and Dr. Swinton to actually send us off. On behalf of TECHNOLOchicas and NCWIT, we are truly grateful that you joined us today. Glendale Community College, take it away, please.
Jania, as always, we appreciate your support throughout the years. You've been amazing. The TECHNOLOchicas ambassadors have been super inspiring and amazing. We could always count on you to always be there to help our communities understand that technology is an option. I mean, especially now with COVID-19, honestly, if you think about it, the ingenuity of a lot of our experts in this panel, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have been able to do this. We wouldn't have Zoom. We would not have all these other social media outlets. We would not be able to buy anything online because of you, because of your passion. And so again, my job, like you, Janny, I don't have a STEM background, but my job is to encourage those that do have the knack, who likes to tinker around with things, to really think about pursuing a degree in computer science and engineering, because you guys, I mean, you've done wonders for humanity, So thank you so much for everything. Marisela and Dean Jan Swinton, would you like to add anything?
I'd like to echo on Dr. Richard Cortez. Definitely students out there, start exploring. If you're exploring excellence, start asking your teachers about their journey. How did they get there? Network online through LinkedIn. Google that if you have not yet. But I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna find amazing things online. And most important, your counselors are the connection at your school. Just connect with them, tell them about your interests, and they'll let you know how you could go into different pathways. And I would like to thank Glendale Foundation for sponsoring this event. Thank you so much. And in the future, we'll have other events for all of you guys, high school and college students, to explore more on STEM.
And I would just like to say I am so pleased to see how many elementary school students we had in this group. It was quite a large number. And I encourage you to keep, checking these things out. There's so many interesting things, and embrace all of the people you've connected with here and the people in the future. And as people were saying, ask them about their journeys. And Jenny, I'm wondering if you can also put Richard's and Maricela's email when you send it out. You were gonna, to everybody. It doesn't matter who you are or what your station in life is, or how old you are, if you're elementary or you're professional. Check in with Richard and Maricela, and counselors are kind of like the connectors, the matchmakers. So like Richard said, he doesn't have a background in this. I don't either, having come from counseling myself. We're on the other side, but we certainly know how to reach out and connect with others. So please use us as your resources. And I thank all of you for your participation. And I just feel like those of you who presented, that you just gave a lot of inspiration to everybody. And in this new environment, post-COVID-19, this could be everybody's calling in this group. It's a new, we're not going back to what we used to be and how we used to do business or anything else. So we are going to need you innovators to come in and help business and industry reinvent themselves. And you can bring those skills and interests to them. So I encourage you to keep pursuing that. And then Anna, since you did say you are a student at GCC, I do want our two counselors here to follow up with you to make sure we've got you engaged with all of our different involvement with robotics and computer science opportunities and the clubs and just a lot of things that we're involved in. So I just want to make sure, and we'll connect you with the teachers that, and if you're not involved with them already. So anyway, thank you so much to everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good afternoon.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, TECHNOLOchicas.
Thank you to all the interpreters. I
Oh, that's
was
right.
remiss to. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.